Okay, gonna make a video on the Hawk 250. In this case, mine is a Hawk DLX, which means electronic fuel injection. But this video is gonna apply basically for all Hawks, all years, and the carbureted ones. And this video is, the whole goal of this video is for Hawk enthusiasts, whether you're an owner or you want to get a Hawk. It's going to be a complete info guide. That's the goal of it. I'm going to try, and if I fail, help us out down in the comment section. But it's all of the critical upgrades and mods, and it's really for safety and reliability. So basically 101 major and minor upgrades. The Hawk is, it's a good bike. I'm not recommending you buy it, but if you did buy it, it's deficient in a lot of different categories and some basic stuff. I'm not going to go over everything. I'm going to go over the important stuff, the critical stuff, the stuff that will leave you broke down on the trail or on the side of the road. And it really is for safety. There's a lot of things on this motorcycle that aren't good. I don't think you got to spend a lot of money to get it to be good. And most of these ideas aren't my own ideas. I'm standing on the shoulders of a lot of other people that have come up with a lot of better videos than this. And this isn't going to be great, but maybe I'll do a part 2. I don't know. But I think this will be helpful for some folks. A lot of folks have done videos. Unfortunately, they're scattered all over the internet. They're on Thumper Talk, China Riders, YouTube, and that's great. I'm going to try to compile it all into one visual video, and you're going to notice I'm not going to show you how to do each and everything. I'll try to post some links, but at least give you an idea of what you're up against, and we'll go from there. We'll start at a particular section of the bike, and in no particular order. And if I get the name of certain parts and whatever wrong, then, correct me down in the comment section. If you think that there's something that is important I left out or isn't important that I said, then we'll just kind of make this video better by chit-chatting below in the comments. And I'll try to post links. Like, I'm not going to show you how to do valve lash, guys. There's a video for that already, and that video is way better than this one. So here we go. We're going to start in no particular order, no particular place, but the rear end of the Hawk 250. If you order this, the front tire is going to be off, the rear is going to be on. And as a starting point, the rear tire, I would go ahead and take that tire right off, because the tubes for the Hawk 250 are really, really, really cheap. Like, they're bad. I actually took both of my tires off immediately, took them into the shop, and I bought some inner tubes IRC heavy duty ones on Amazon. I can try to post that link down below. Brought it into the shop. The guy didn't want to do it. He said, no, that's a brand new tire. I was adamant about it, went back the next day, and he looked like he had seen a ghost. He was like, nope, you're right. Those are the cheapest tubes I've ever seen. And the wheel strip, or the rim strip liner, is also, he's like, it was basically the consistency of masking tape. So he put his own on for $1.25. You can get a new rim strip that will protect the spokes from getting chafed and blowing out your tube, and get a better tube that you may never have to, or you won't have to replace for a long, long time. I have about 3,500 miles on this bike, trouble-free, because I did all this stuff before I started. So get your new tubes put in. Try to post that link, and then while the wheel is off, the inner backsplash for the Hawk is basically non-existent. There's really not much there to keep water, mud, and other dust and things from intruding into over here where your airbox is. So I'm going to show you guys the airbox here in a minute. But while you have the tire off, this would be a good time to add something. I mean, I took a plant pot, cut it in half, and zip tied it in there and got some RTV sealant. This is ice and water shield. Anything you can do. There's holes and gaps and everything in here to keep water from going in this direction. There really is no backsplash. I would highly recommend that you mess with your backsplash with anything you've got laying around. Otherwise, you're going to introduce water to your air filter area. Also, while the wheel is off, you're going to want to grease your wheel bearing, because there isn't any grease in there. It comes basically bone dry. Also, while your wheel is off, I did a video on this one, so I'll try to post that link. your damper bushings and your sprocket bolt studs, these are the original ones, and they don't look like there's anything wrong with them, but there is. They're cheap. And a lot of riders are saying that over time, these will just kind of ream out that damper bushing, and you'll have all kinds of play in your rear wheel, and who knows what could happen at 50 miles an hour. Replace them with the stuff that you'll see in that other video. Then you're going to also want to change out your brake fluid. What comes in it is pretty cheap stuff. And let's see here, the airbox seam. So going around the bike to the other side, this is your airbox, you guys. A better video than this has been done on the seam right here. When you get your bike, you're going to notice this is a two-part airbox right here. This seam is going to have, no matter how tight you get these bolts, there's going to be gaps here just because it kind of comes warped and cheap. And it's been said that you could take your airbox out and fix it that way. That's quite a process to dig that out of there. So what I'm going to tell you is that if you get an RTV, a tube of that, you know, whatever sealant you like, it doesn't have to look pretty because this is going to be covered with plastic. Go through and you can kind of see sort of what I did. You can go all the way around and seal up any holes that you see, because you do not want dust and unfiltered air and, you know, to get introduced to your engine. So I would use the sealer to accomplish that task. And then let's see, after that, just checking my notes. So let me see if I can get this seat off. Sorry about the quality here, guys. This is your air box right here. You're gonna notice that I just took some rubber gloves and sealed off this wire harness. Because if I hadn't put the backsplash in, you'd be able to see ground from here. There's all kinds of areas where water can get in here. And this is the induction for your air filter right here. I actually reamed out the drainage holes on either side for your air filter and made it so I don't think anything is going to get in over to my air box. Also, the other thing that you want to keep in mind, I believe on the other side of the bike, there is a drain for your air box, but also that works as a way for unfiltered air, because your filter's up here, to get into your engine unfiltered. So I sealed that up. I'm banking on the fact that I'm not going to get water. I'm not driving through 3 feet of water with this bike. This bike's only seen pavement. For you guys that do, hope you make it. So I sealed that off with RTV sealant, and then your crankcase breather hose, which normally would attach right here and go directly down into your engine. If you ever did get water into your air filter box and it filled up more than an inch or so, that water or fluid is going to drain right into your crankcase, and you don't want that. So I end up sealing that, and this is where the debate begins. A lot of people are saying that you have to have your crankcase breather go into your airbox. Fine, there's a way to do that. There's a video for that. I vented mine to atmosphere. It's actually coming out here and going basically right back into the air filter. So it's about the same. You don't really need this filter on there, but this is your crankcase breather hose, and in my opinion, you don't want it attached right here. And you can Google around all you want. I think you're going to find people that will say the same thing. And then after that, you guys, you got to do your valve lash. There's a video for that. I'm not going to explain why. It comes basically not adjusted at all. I wouldn't run it. If you are running, I would stop and I would adjust it. There's a great video. I'll try to post that. Definitely should replace your spark plug. I'll post a link on what you can put in there, whatever one, but the one that comes in it is pretty cheap. And then your resistor, your spark plug wire, I definitely would replace that as well with anything. And get one that's pretty heat resistant, because this engine produces a lot of heat, which leads to another thing. Actually, I think that's on my other list, and I'm already starting to run out of time. But spark plug, your front wheel bearing, you're going to want to grease that, because it comes, again, bone dry. And don't forget to do your tubes up here in the front. And then let's see, over on the other side of the bike, your gas tank. A lot of people are saying that the gas tank will leak. I didn't even try. I just took the gas tank off, and your fuel pump, which is down around underneath here on the bike, there's 4 bolts that your fuel pump attaches to the bottom of the tank. Those bolts, everybody's saying, will leak, and they'll leak early and they'll leak often, and then you'll have gas dripping on your ultra hot engine. So that's not ideal. So what you want to do, go ahead and get yourself some felt or whatever you want to use to make some washers. Cut off a few little small ones, make yourself your own washer, 4 of them, attach it. This thing has not leaked a drop from the day I've owned it. And let's see. And then also, this is a good time to talk about the carb, guys. And I don't have a carb bike, but the carb that comes with a Hawk is junk. It's no good. You're going to want to go ahead and get a new carb for your Hawk. And guys online will tell you, or down in the comment section, what one you should get. And then the carbureted Hawk has an instrument cluster that's not so good. So you're going to want to probably replace that. And then when you do break in any Hawk, it's been suggested do a lot of oil changes. I did 5, 50, 500, and 1,000. That's in miles. I guess you could translate that into hours, but let's just do miles. Do a lot of break-ins. If you just jump in this thing and go after one oil change, I don't know what will happen, but it should last you a long time, but you got to break this bike in correctly. And the first 1,000 miles, it'll help you find neutral if you break it in correctly too. So tighten all the bolts, apply Loctite, and then off you go. So the second walk around, these are important things, but they're not necessarily ultra critical. I'd recommend you do them. While you have that rear tire off, you can go ahead and grease the swing arm bearing. The swing arm bearing is down in here. There's a bearing in there, and you can this would be a good time to actually add a grease fitting to the swing arm bearing. I've seen them popping right out, just right where near the coil is. But grease that thing because it is bone dry. So add grease there. You can change your sprockets out at this point in time too. It's a great time to do it. I have highway gears on mine. Woohoo! 86 miles per gallon, guys. So you can do that while you're here and adjust that rear shock. It's a little high, and the front is too. I'm 6'2", and I touch the ground with my tiptoes. I'll try to post what my inseam is, but you know, this bike is a real tall bike. Now would be a good time to adjust your shocks. And that chain guide is a joke that's in there. It's a piece of rubber. There's really good chain guides you can buy for pennies on the dollar. Go ahead and pop one of those in there while you have this all out. It's super easy to work on. This is really important, but it didn't quite make my super important list, is the chain tensioner over here. The gauge of steel that's around your swing arm back here isn't real thick. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but I've already kind of flexed that in and kind of crushed it in just a little bit. And I'm not putting a lot of pounds per square inch. I mean, I'm torquing that thing at 20, maybe 30 or 40, like not a lot. And it's still kind of pressing this in, and that's not ideal. So what I did is added a hardened steel washer around here to supplement the guide washer thing that's already on there. And the nut's kind of fine. I'm probably going to add a lock nut to it too, hardened steel, but watch out you're not caving that in when you're doing your tensioner. So I thought that was important to put in there. And then, let's see. And then I don't think I mentioned this on the first walk around. Maybe I did, but this engine runs really hot. Take some time. Try to make it so that you can see daylight all the way around this engine. Get some zip ties, get clever, and pull stuff, get stuff away, all of your wire harness, you know, everything you can, even your spark plug wire comes stock, kind of running over the top of the engine. Get all that stuff kind of routed as far away from the engine as you can so that nothing melts, nothing gets prematurely cracked and corroded and, you know, whatever else as you're going down the road. It's a really, really hot engine, so you're going to want to be careful of that. And then, let's see, over on the other side of the vehicle, again, a weak point that a lot of people are talking about, you can't really see it, is your stator wires. They are in there somewhere. I forget where. But if you take this plate off, you're going to take this off when you're doing your sprockets anyway. Your stator wires are in there. And again, it gets hot. They get brittle. It's down here. There's a lot of water intrusion and corrosion and stuff like that. And you can mess up your stator. So I actually added some heat shrink tubing and tinfoil, and yes, I said it, tinfoil, to kind of give it some body, some meat, so it wouldn't corrode and leave it dead on the trail somewhere. A new headlight bulb, pretty critical, although most bikes don't come with a great headlight, so you'll see why I got accessory lights. Those are nice. Let's see, grease fitting to the steering stem. So your steering stem, I'm kind of all over the map, but I saw a guy do this online. Genius idea. I think it goes in here. Again, there's not a lot of grease in there for your steering stem. And adjust your front shocks too. if you can. It'll help you an awful lot. And then adjust your clutch, because it's probably going to come loose. It'll be really, really hard to find neutral. So you can adjust it here, up here at the, you know, obviously at the bar. And then you can adjust it, you know, down at the, where the actual clutch is that goes into the crank. So it'll help you find neutral. An oil cooler, again, I'm going to do that this year. This engine runs super, super, super hot. So especially if you're in a southern climate, I'm up here in Maine. Okay, and this thing still is roasting. It's just like riding on a Bunsen burner. So try to get an oil cooler. I think that will increase better running, better shifting, and longevity for your bike. And then also the decals on these things just peel off. I don't have a solution for that. Anybody down in the comment section, I'd love to hear it. But the decals just peel off like crazy. So let us know what there is to do about that. And then a better battery. Although the one I got when this one was sealed and maintenance free. So I don't know which ones you guys are getting. Maybe somebody can update us. But those ones that are serviceable ones, apparently the stock one doesn't last too long. Mine's out being charged. But I got 3,500 miles out of mine, a full season. But yeah, you may need a better battery. But quite frankly, when you start talking about brake pads and batteries and headlight bulbs for a bike, that's not unique to the Hawk. So I'm going to stop the video here pretty soon. You know, all bikes could use a better battery. All bikes could use better brakes. So that's not unique to the Hawk. I hope this was somewhat beneficial for some people. My last closing thoughts for the Hawk is that you are getting, you know, you're spending $2,000 on a bike that is a clone of the Honda CRF 250. That currently in my area, MSRP costs about $8,300. So don't give up on this thing. You can get this thing set up so it gets 86 miles per gallon. You know, this thing has been pretty tried and true for me. And one last thing I really wanted to mention is I was really worried going into this that, you know, in addition to a cheap bike, you're getting a cheap engine. That engine's really good. That's a tried and true engine. Help me out, but I think they came off the, what is the Honda CG 125 or something like that, available all around the world. That engine is bomb proof. So don't worry about if you set it up and you break this bike in, it should run you tens of thousands of miles. So the strength of this bike is the engine. The weakness of this bike is the engine. It's not 250 cc. It behaves like a Honda, Yamaha 200 cc bike. That's about how much power you have. You probably have about 10, 11, or 12 horsepower at the wheels. I think most of the information says it's a 14, 15 horsepower bike. And that's half the horsepower of its Honda CRF 250. So Google all that. You're not going to set any records with this. It doesn't go fast, but it'll go down the highway at 65. Do everything you need it to do on trails and set it up. Be safe. Safe travels. Hope this video helped you out. Let us know in the comment section what we can do to make this video better, and I might come up with a part 2.